This is half the fun.
Yeah, this is half the fun. We were just trying to work how something worked and we had to stop and start again. Welcome everyone to our inaugural Art Jam for Healing. I'm so excited. I'm Chantal and this is...
I'm Rodine.
And we've only met each other over Facebook, social media, so that's the positive about this. And we came up with this idea that we would start doing art jams. Rodine is already an artist as far as I'm concerned, a real one. I'm still the beginning one, so I don't feel I'm there yet. But then this idea really came up, didn't it, Rodine, as we were talking?
Yeah. Well, and we were talking because we're united in a few fabulous groups, and we really started connecting when my book came out, and it was interesting, our parallels, because my book was my story about healing from trauma, right? And then you had started your memoirs, but there was this kind of mutual conversation between us about those things. And then you started doing your gorgeous art in your art journal as a part of your healing, which was, I thought, was so incredible.
Thank you. I disappeared for a moment because we're going live on Facebook as well, and then we're going to put this onto YouTube. So I get it. So we've just done that. And as I'm talking about my art journal, here it is. Here it is. And here it is.
Love it.
And this was I bought a couple of art classes for my 60th. I asked friends and family to contribute. And this is how I actually restarted, I should say, in a bigger way, just doing my art sort of journal. So I come and go with my art journal, and I really love it because what it's teaching me is to be simply present with what is. And this is what we're going to be talking about, everyone, is what holds us back, how do you get started, what can you do to support yourself. We're going to share our stories, and like you said, you've got the book, so which we'll talk a bit about as well, what you've written and the name of the book, so we'll be putting that into links, and me starting my memoir and how amazing that has been. So as you said, this has been the lovely journey. And then when we sat down and went, let's do this, suddenly it became, why don't we live stream it? And then it became, could we perhaps eventually do a membership? Perhaps this could go global. So at the moment, we're allowing this to unfold, because this is how we'll talk about how trauma or childhood stuff can affect you from actually thinking big, from being able to visualize these things, because I lost imagination, I lost hope for the future. So this for me is hugely exciting to see where this goes. And we've both sort of talked about this, haven't we, Rodine, that if it doesn't go anywhere, we just do it for ourselves anyhow. That's the freedom.
Yeah. So sorry, and this is real life, but I just had to find the link so I can share this to my page too.
Yes, so that's right. That's right.
That's why my eyes are down, because I'm like, where is it? Where is it?
Actually, it's here. So perhaps I can actually share it too. I've got it. You got it?
I've got it. I've got it. Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, so here we are. So if you want to comment here or on YouTube, please do. We'll get back to you. If you feel comfortable, and particularly, I think you can only upload in comments images or anything you've created, please do, because we're going to chat for about 20 minutes. Then Rodine and I are going to stop. We're going to actually carry on for an hour. And then we will most probably, well, we will, I'm still putting a little caveat on here, post what we have done, or at least something like that. So it's about feeling comfortable with sharing what you do. There's no right or wrong. There's no perfection. And let me tell you, I have done some things that I really, well, I thought I didn't like, but I'm learning to let go. I created it, isn't it? It's just that.
Yeah. And so this actually ties in to something that I still hit all the time. When you have a blank piece of paper, what goes through your mind?
Oh, I like that. Yes. In fact, I like that question. So ask it again. So everyone, think about this. Ask that again.
Whenever you have a blank canvas or a blank piece of paper and you're getting ready to make art, what do you think about? What do you feel in connection?
Beautiful.
That's
beautiful. Because in fact, last night I woke up, I was so excited. I woke up and got up to write. This is what I've been doing with my memoir, because normally they say you've got to have rituals and do it at the same time of day. So again, we're going to be talking about this because I find that really quite difficult. So here I was at 11 o'clock, bushy-eyed and bright-tailed, and looking at this. And in fact, it's how not to be scared to sit in front of a blank canvas or writing a blank page. And I like that exercise. So we could actually do that perhaps in one of our next ones, is we could actually just sit quietly with each other, do a meditation and some tapping. So we'll talk about, if whoever hasn't meditated and tapping, we could do some of that.
Beautiful. Those are such fabulous techniques too, meditation and tapping. And I don't know, I mean, there are probably people that will be tuning in who won't know what the tapping part is, right? And that one's such a good one as well, right?
It is a good one. And we can go through that. It's EFT, emotional freedom technique tapping. So what I can do is, if you don't know what it is, we'll explain it, but I've got a YouTube video anyhow. So if you wish me to send that to you, I will. And then you can also look at it in your own time, because when I first started, like with anything, because of my childhood, if I was too scared, if I didn't, so coming back to looking at the blank page, so this could be blank anything, you're learning something new. So it could be like, in this case, I said EFT tapping. I was so scared I'd get it wrong. Would I get the right, all this, or the right points? But really, when you work it out, you can just do your favorite one. You just sit and tap, It's the most beautiful feeling. And I like the freedom of that. And that's why I've called my business Unfold Your Freedom. Not realizing when I created it 8 years ago, got the name, that it was a concept at the time. I'm only now stepping into what freedom means. I've unfolded all this time.
How beautiful.
And I'll still always unfold, don't you think? I mean, this is all part of life, isn't it? We'll always be unfolding.
Life does unfold, and however we term that, right? Whether it's our journey or our path, but we never really know. We just keep taking those steps. And so it does unfold, right?
Yeah, it does unfold. And I think it's coming back to, again, because this is all around the trauma we've experienced, or the PTSD. It's learning to feel safe with that, learning to trust that, learning to be okay with the unknown. So that's why looking at a blank page, for me, I'd freeze, because I was already frozen in my body anyhow. I'd freeze and go, how do I even start? Where do I start? What colors, brush strokes? And I'd have this thing in my mind, concept that I could never get on paper. Still can't. So I've had to let go of that and go, okay, intuition, you're just coming through whatever it is. But that for me was very real, because it came back to a childhood experience, with a teacher. I wonder how many of you who are watching, or who are watching the replay, have had that.
Yeah.
How did you get started, Rodine?
In art? It was an accident. I was a special needs teacher, and I was working with a student, and we were in art class, and she was busy doing her thing. And I thought I would play around with what the art teacher just taught the kids. So I got a piece of paper and some paints, and I just played, and I'm like, okay, he said, do this. And so I just played around, and I made a little painting. And in the staff room, I had left it on the coffee table. I was getting coffee, and there were other staff members that were kind of fighting over it, saying, oh my God, I love this. Why is it just sitting here? Whose is this? And they said, oh, it must be the art teacher's. And someone said, if it's still here at the end of the day, I'm coming back to steal it. And I turned around and I'm like, you can have it. They're like, you did this? We didn't know you were an artist. And I had to laugh. I said, I'm not. That's the first thing I've ever painted. And it just took off from there. I kind of went, oh, I kind of like this painting thing. So.
And it's interesting. And while I love hearing the stories, because while you're talking, I'm actually doing art too, because this is what we're actually doing.
Yes.
And I have found, as I've been doing art, helps with concentration. So this is what I've been started a while ago. I did a course, it's mixed media, and to create them. So just starting to do markings. I've got a fascination with markings. So everyone who's watched, if we do look down, or we turn at you, in your case, turn around to do that, it's because we're actually doing the art. We're actually going to just do it. And let me tell you, my heart is pumping a little bit, you know, because there's excitement and a little bit of trepidation. And I found out recently, because I've been doing a lot of learning around trauma now that I'm out of it. What does it mean? Also, there's a lot more information available to when did you get triggered into PTSD?
That was, I think about 3 years ago.
Okay, 3 years ago. See, I was actually looking back now. It was when my father died 24 years ago. But at the time we didn't know enough about it. I was in deep grief. But when we went back to look at the timelines, and then when I did accident 14.5 years, so that's when I triggered into complex PTSD. But again, there wasn't much information around. Fortunately, my therapist and psychologist is trauma educated, lived experience. So I was really fortunate that I had someone, and my GP, which was fantastic, because at the time we didn't really have that information. Now you can access it so easily, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I can't remember why I was saying any of that. This also happens. It's called menopause or post-menopause, and it's called talking about. Anyhow, I can't remember what I was saying. If someone can remind, or anyhow, we'll be finished talking by then.
Someone, whoever's watching, remind us.
That's right. If you're on our
go back. What were we doing?
What were we doing? What were we saying?
Well, but this is real life too, right? I mean, this is what happens.
This is exactly right. This is what happens. And that's what we want, isn't it? Just to keep it natural, normal. And I think the word is normalizing. And I've got a really brilliant word. It was a professor here in Australia over East, and he was calling it democratizing trauma. So making it that we start talking about it, because it can happen to anyone, anywhere, anytime. And we have this sense, it's only just starting to be a lot more awareness around benign. I love Peter Levine. I keep quoting him because I just think he's fantastic. You've been reading his book, Waking the Tiger. You can be traumatized. Trauma can happen to anyone. It's then what happens with the trauma. But it can be what he calls benign. So it can be anything small. It can be vicarious. So you can be traumatized by someone else's trauma, you know, and that's why, and I love that word democratizing, because I want people to go, oh, it wasn't that bad, or someone had it worse, or I wasn't violated, or a serious, you know.
The way.
But how did you find that when you finally got diagnosed? You know, how did you feel?
You know, I was honestly, I think I was embarrassed.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because I was so used to holding everything together and, you know, being someone who shared advice and was knowledgeable in things. And so then to be hit with that, I mean, it took me a long time. I was at the breaking point by the time I even went to my doctor and basically said, I don't know what to do, but I can't do this anymore. Like, I can't function. I'm really not doing well. And that I was embarrassed. Honestly, I was embarrassed.
Actually, it's interesting you say that, because I was embarrassed, but actually mine went further. I think it was I was ashamed. I was ashamed because I wasn't coping. The car accident wasn't that serious in the scheme of things. Why wasn't I coping? I meant to be strong, highly functioning, independent, and here I was, couldn't get off the couch. You know, having lived all abroad since childhood, could drive anywhere, anyhow, and then I couldn't get off the couch, and I was this blubbering mess, you know. So like you, but what I found when I when the psychologist turned around and said, you've got PTSD, there was also partly relief, because then I had an understanding, oh, there's a reason why I am feeling this way. So I actually liked the label, you know, I found it really helpful.
Did I find it helpful? There was a part of me, I think there was that part of me that went, oh, this is legitimate. So I'm not just crazy.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, I like that. Yes.
Oh, okay. So there's this reason. And then I think the other part of me, though, then went to, you know, whatever readings I've done about PTSD. And then, you know, it's like, oh my God, am I ever going to get better?
Yeah.
Right? Like,
agreed. Yep. Yes.
It's like, am I always going to be like this? And your brain is already mine was almost catastrophizing everything, right? And you're trying to control everything. And so then there was that part there that then it was like, oh no, I need to control this too, right? It's like, oh no, that's part of why you're here, sweetheart. You're gonna have to.
Exactly right. I found, and I love the word discombobulation, where it was like you said, I was turned upside down, and I was, you try to control everything. Exactly right. It was so interesting, because even though I was relieved, it was only, as I was writing my memoir, I was looking back at the timeline, and Facebook had only just started. And we're only just starting to get to know it. And I just realized a couple of months before, I went and looked at the timelines, and a couple of months before I had the accident, I'd only just signed up to Facebook. And, but I put on a facade because at that point we weren't sharing as much as now. It's all about sharing yourself and who you are. And, but I was, again, so the shame came in there. So even though I was relieved, the shame came in there, because how am I going to share this? At that point, I was still running a natural skincare range. And I'd go out to stockists, and I was on TV and magazines and things like that as I was starting off. So I was thinking, God, what are people going to think of me? You know, here I am going out there looking like I'm the, you know, got it all together gal, come home and I'm a gibbering mess. You know, so that then created even more. So eventually I fell in a heap and fell in the middle and into a deep depression, because I was too busy trying to keep the two separate. And that's why I do what I do, holistic business counseling. So I'm a holistic counselor, but I'm also wanting to support women in business or even in careers to understand how trauma affects and how can you support yourself in that. And let's just bring it. It is a fact. You take, well, sorry, I call it a fact. Trauma will affect how you are in all areas of life, including, as we've been talking about, creating.
Absolutely. And I mean, I got so busy with my career, with teaching and everything, and really so owning that identity, that I had kind of let a lot of my artwork slide.
Yes.
I was doing the acrylic pour painting, which I loved and which was fascinating, because of course you really have to let go of your control with that, because you can't control that paint, like you just can't. And so then, you know, when I found out that my non-functioning was legitimate.
Yes. God, I like your words, legitimate.
Yeah. And there is a part of that, isn't there? Right?
Absolutely.
That needing to have it be accepted, and not just you're crazy or you're hormonal.
That's right. No, keep going. I'm just saying this is the sort of what I'm doing, the markings, learning. I agree with you. It isn't just hormone. It isn't just you being emotional, because I know for me, I was already emotional, being part French. So I think, you know, wave my hands, I do this and do that. Yeah, and I have an Australian English grandmother who's a lot more demure, and there's me, you know. So coming back, so when you do have these trauma things, you know, it's exacerbated you even more, aren't you? You know, and I think, what was the word you just used? I've forgotten, but it's like, it's about us giving ourselves permission, which took me a long time to go. It's here I am. This is what happens, what you experience. But it's easy to create it as a concept. You've actually got to own it and step into it. And that's what takes time. And that's why anyone who's watching, please comment, reach out. Why we want to have these jams and be able to just talk about it all. So as I said, or we said in the beginning, this is our first. And now, Rodine, just explain what you're a teacher, but how do you're artists, people can buy your art. How do you support people? So just give a little bit of your history before we sort of come to the end.
Yes. Are we almost there already? Holy
I
crow.
think so, because I didn't actually quite check what time we did. I was so excited and too busy trying to get it all out. So we will be carrying on ourselves, as we mentioned. So carry on, Rodine, you just go into,
Yes. You can find me on social media, Rodine Isfeld, Rodine Isfeld Designs. That's on all social media. And I do have a website, rodineisfeld.com. At this point, ultimately, it is really to purchase my art. If you would like a commission or anything like that, that's where you'll find me.
Lovely.
Yeah.
And
I have. Oh, I was going to say, I'm also a co-author in a few books, but we can chat about that another time.
Yeah, no, which is good, because that's what we want to do. I'm Unfold Your Freedom. That's my business, my name. So Facebook, Instagram, on YouTube. So just if you're interested in following us, you can do, reaching out. And what we're doing is next week, because it's a long weekend in Canada, we're missing next week.
Yep.
But we'll be coming back the same time on what date is that? Can you remember what that date is? We'll be coming back.
I don't, but I will check.
And while Rodine's checking, just anyone, if you've got any topics we'd like to talk about, or anything you want us to share, please put it out there, because this is what this is all about, is just being. So what was that date next time?
That is August 13th.
Okay, so August 13th, 8 a.m. Perth, Western Australian time, AWST, and it's 7 o'clock Canadian time before you have your go back. So this is your summertime, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Oh my God.
And I know, that's funny. You've got your scarves on and stuff, and here I am in my tank t-shirt.
That's right. And in a few months' time, it'll be the other way around.
It will be. Yes. I'll be bundled up.
That's right. We tell when the weather is. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. I know we could carry on, but we will be carrying on behind the scenes, everyone. So hopefully you'll be able to carry on too. Even when you're watching the replay, give yourself some time to just carry on doing what you're doing. And because this is about giving yourself permission. This is what I'm doing here, is giving myself permission just to, I might even write, I might even knit, it's whatever way you want to do this. You might want to be dancing, or, there's so many different ways you can be creative. Be in your pajamas. I did at least get out of my pajamas this morning.
See, and it'll be time for me to get into my pajamas. That's also kind of funny, right?
It is, and the hair and all that. So I love it. This is a wonderful thing about social media and or internet, that we can have this accessibility. So thank you everyone for watching us, our first one. As I said, please comment, be in touch, and we look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks' time. Have a beautiful day or a good night's sleep.
Yes.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.